If you give me 10 minutes of your time, I will show you something you probably never checked in your entire life. That's why cereal, soda, snacks, and even the bread that you grew up on aren't the same foods that people get overseas. It's the same brand, same mascots, same commercials, but completely different formulas. And here's the wild part: they didn't change the recipe over there for taste, they changed it for safety. Meanwhile, we kept the old version, and my question is why? See, I have a friend in London about 6 months ago, sent me a video of him standing at his grocery store holding a box of Frosted Flakes. Same exact box, same bright blue, same Tony the Tiger mascot. And then he flipped it over. There was 5 ingredients. There was no dyes, there was no BHT, nothing extra. And then I was like, you know what? Let me run to the store. Let me go pull up the US version. So I go to the store, I go to the cereal aisle, grab a box of Frosted Flakes, flip it over, and boom. It's an entire paragraph of preservatives and colors that look like a chemistry quiz that I never studied for. That was the first moment I realized there's two different versions of the same food: the clean version that companies make when they're forced to, and the cheap version they sell when nobody stops them. And that's the uncomfortable truth, right? Food companies don't build formulas based on what's healthiest. They build it based on what's cheapest that still tastes good. That's why in the US, where the laws are looser, companies you can use bargain bin ingredients, artificial dyes, artificial preservatives, emulsifiers that make food shelf stable for months. The longest lasting version is almost always the most profitable one. And every single penny saved per box turns into millions of dollars. So in America, they ride that line as far as they legally can. But when they sell that same exact product in Europe, suddenly the recipe gets a makeover. Not because the company suddenly cares, but because the laws over there force them to. Europe bans half the stuff that we let slide. So the companies go, oh, okay, we'll just make a cleaner version then. They can make it, they just don't have to here. Let's use some real examples of this because this is where people usually get a little mad. Take Mountain Dew, for example. In the US, we've had high fructose corn syrup, yellow 5, and for decades, brominated vegetable oil, which is an ingredient that literally wasn't even allowed in European drinks. Compare that to the UK version. They use real sugar, no BVO, no artificial dyes. It's the same brand, just a completely different formula. Or what about Skittles? Here in America, you've got artificial dyes and had titanium dioxide for decades, and that's been under fire for its potential impact on DNA in cells. And Europe said, no thanks. We swapped the dyes for natural fruit and vegetable colorings. It's the same candy, they just have a totally different philosophy based on where they're at. And then there's your bread, right? This is the one that really hits people. For example, when American tourists go to Europe, they'll say, I can eat bread here and it doesn't get me bloated. It must be magic. No, it's because Europe banned the dough conditioners, the bleaching agents, and the preservatives that keep bread soft for a month. And in the US, the priority is shelf life, not human life. So we get formulas that keep the bread perfect on the shelf and destroy your gut in the process. Even Frosted Flakes followed the same pattern. In the US, you've got dyes and BHT, and in the UK, there's none of that. And Europe even requires caution labels for certain dyes that say this may have an adverse effect on activity and attention in your children. Meanwhile, our version, we just serve it up for breakfast and call it a healthy meal. This isn't some conspiracy. This is regulatory math. Europe follows a precautionary approach. If there's any reasonable doubt about an ingredient, remove it. See, the US follows a profit approach. Unless it's proven harmful beyond a shadow of a doubt, keep it in. And because of that, companies give every country the cheapest formula they can legally get away with. And here's why this matters, right? Your cravings, your kids' behavior, your bloating, your inflammation, your energy crashes, so much of it comes from the food environment itself. It's not always your fault. The system is stacked. The engineered formulas are designed to hook you, keep you coming back, and sit on a shelf for an unnatural amount of time. But once you try the European versions, you will realize something. They actually taste better. They taste cleaner. They're not artificially loud. It's because they're more food-like. It's not food science. The point isn't to freak you out or make you boycott an entire grocery store. Nobody expects you to be perfect. Hell, I'm not perfect. But awareness shifts your choices. You can start buying products with fewer ingredients. You can pick brands that have already switched to natural colors. You can avoid the stuff that glows in the dark and reads like a chemistry textbook. You can eat more real food instead of relying on things that are built to last longer than your car's tires. You don't need perfection. You just need a little bit of direction. And every time that you choose the cleaner version, you're voting. Europe only changed because enough people demanded better. The US will eventually follow, but only if enough people realize we've been eating the discounted version of the foods that we love. Let me know in the comments what foods you guys want me to compare next, because once you see how deep this goes, you will never look at a label the same way again. And if you want more breakdowns like this, hit that subscribe button. We are just getting started.